I'm Gary Erickson.
And I'm Tyler Hogue.
We became best buds through the heavy music scene.
And now we're doing a podcast, breaking down our favorite bands, albums, and shows.
This is All Consuming Podcast.
I wrongly said that when we saw Fit for a King live, this was probably the heaviest band I've seen live. But it was Impending Doom. Impending Doom is the heaviest band that I think I've seen live. I can't think of another one.
Well, so to be fair, when we watched Fit for a King, that was 2 years ago? They had a lot of production stuff on the stage to do bass drops and musically heavy, right? The weight of the music hitting you was amazing. When we saw Impending Doom, it was in a church, right? They brought their own amps. They had some kind of speakers. It was a church converted into a concert.
It wasn't a real venue, yeah.
Right. And I think just the quality difference between the two venues we were at was night and day.
Part of it.
Yeah. And I remember when we went to that show, I don't remember much from Impending Doom because your friend was there. I can't remember his name.
Boss?
No. He took off his sweatshirt and was twirling it over his head and stuff, and it's this homeschool kid that never was been to a show or something. He had a crush on your wife.
Whoa.
Wasn't that something?
So first off, let me say this. So when we saw Impending Doom, this might go in somewhere. When we saw Impending Doom, my buddy that baptized me, we were buddies for a while, moved to college, didn't really talk as much after that, but he actually baptized me. He's a pit boss. We would always go to these shows in Spokane, and he was there just mauling people.
Stiff-arming kids out of the air.
Destroying them. Finding the littlest kid. I mean, there's not very many little kids there, but finding the skinniest kid and just mowing them over. Right? And I remember, I don't know exactly which show it was, but I remember looking at you and be like, oh yeah, that guy right there that's killing people in the mosh pit. Yeah, he baptized me. And he's baptizing everyone in the pit right now, just destroying them. Oh, man. See, I don't remember a ton from the Impending Doom show really either.
I think we got there. No, because we got there with Texas in July.
I remember them.
Yeah, I remember the songs and thinking man, this is a great song. And I was definitely in the back of the venue.
Out of all the bands there, I remember Sleeping Giant the most.
I think, same for me.
Yeah. But another person, it was a weird show too. But this one guy was there who doesn't really go to shows. I forget his name.
Joe.
But we knew him. Joe, yeah. We knew him through Ryan. Right? Mm-hmm. I think that's how we knew him. Yeah. He was there swinging his shirt over his head during these filthy breakdowns.
He's just woohoo! He's riding a horse.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Yep.
Okay, I totally remember. That's funny. Yeah.
I was very distracted by that guy.
And maybe that's why we don't remember.
See, and when I've never seen a band, I've mentioned this before, I like to watch them.
Yeah.
I want to see them perform. I want to see how they handle their instruments. I want to see their energy on the stage. When I've seen them a lot, I'm let's go in the pit. I love this song.
Right.
And so I think that's what I was trying to do. And not just alienate my wife because she also went to the show and didn't want to go in the pit. So that's probably why I wasn't all in. I'd love to see them again.
Me too.
If they come to Spokane or anywhere near Spokane, give or take 6 hours, I'll be there. So today,
yes,
I'll just transition us now. We're going to talk about Impending Doom.
Oh, yeah.
So Impending Doom is probably my favorite deathcore band, but that's because I don't really know a lot of deathcore bands. I'm not very good at genres. I like a band, and then someone's like, oh, you like death metal. And I'm like, is that what that is?
I feel like everything blends together. You know what I mean?
Oh, be careful what you say. You're going to get genre elitists on you and No, there is a definite line.
I do think this goes to Impending Doom. I do think part of the reason that I slept on them for so long, and I did sleep on them for a long time, is because I guess they didn't really fit in that metalcore scene that was really popular, back in the early 2010s and all that.
Yeah.
And so I think I slept on them because of that. But like listening back and getting into them now, it's like, dang, these dudes freaking throw down.
Yeah, when'd you get into them?
We saw them live with For Today at that one church or whatever it was. Was it a church or just a little venue?
It was a church.
And they were awesome. And I think before that, I couldn't tell you one song by them.
Really?
Maybe I could say one. Maybe I could tell you Nailed, Dead, Risen.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't. And so, but after that, I started getting into them, and man, they're awesome.
I got into them with this album that we're going to talk about, Baptized in Filth.
Ooh, yeah.
This is the album that made me pay attention to them. But yeah, I listened to these guys when they came out in March 13th, 2012. I remember sitting on campus, and what song was that came out? Chaos Reborn, maybe? Their first single came out. And like, I remember really liking it, but I was like, there's no cleans. It just constantly goes. And I was like, I can't wait to hear the next like single. And I think it was like Deceiver or something. And I was like, yep,
sick.
I'm buying this album.
Yeah, this was released after we saw them live, though, right? Had to be.
No. We saw them in like October 2012.
Oh, okay.
So this is what they played when we saw them.
Gotcha.
So I'll give some more background on the album and the band before we jump in. Just some fun information.
Dun, dun, dun.
So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, sorry. So Baptized in Filth is the 4th studio album made by them. And the band lineup is different than what they have, well, now especially, but on the one after this. So it's Brook Reeves, obviously. Corey Johnson, who after he left or was made to leave the band, he joined My Children, My Bride. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Interesting.
So he's the lead guitarist. David Sittig, I think that's how you say it, is the bass player, and Brandon Trahan is the drums. The album was engineered by Andreas Magnusson. He's Swedish.
Interesting.
So he's done a lot of stuff that I love. So he did Haste the Day, Attack of the Wolf King.
Oh.
He did O Sleeper, Children of Fire. He did Wolves at the Gate, Captors.
Wow.
Like, those are some amazing
those are
albums.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like metalcore albums. And then, so I can see where like the metalcore of this deathcore really came out is with this guy. But I mean, he did a lot of, I don't know, the album sounds very well done. Like, I enjoyed so much of it.
Yeah, no, this album, Baptized in Filth, is my favorite album from Impending Doom for sure. Like, I do like the Sin and Doom Volume 2. Like, I thought that was a great album.
Yep.
Loved it when it came out. Still listen to it a bunch, but like, start to finish, Baptized in Filth is awesome.
Yep. My wife even likes it.
What?
Yeah, Jen.
No, my wife doesn't like
a
this.
couple songs comes on and she's like, this is really good lyrics. And I'm like, I know, right?
She understands lyrics? That's good.
Well, death, ascension, resurrection. Like,
hey, you're giving it away.
He says it like 10 times, so.
Dude, because I don't even sometimes, like, looking at these lyrics, like, studying up for this, looking at the lyrics, I'm like, oh, that is what he says. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
I think he's very, on this album,
is.
He's very easy to understand compared to other albums.
It definitely jumps from the previous albums to this.
For sure, yeah.
And once you read it, you're like, oh, I can totally understand what he's saying. But, like, I don't know. I'm going to jump ahead and talk about some lyrics, I guess.
No, don't do
it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it.
All right, I have one more thing that's really, really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
The previous albums that these guys put out, I think the two before this one, do you know who their producer was?
No.
Tim Lambesis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as I lay dying. So that's a fun fact.
That's interesting. Really? That's crazy. And so did he not produce this one because
No,
he was...
and people are like, "What's going on?" Like, I mean, well, no, this came out 2012, so
he
hadn't attempted to murder his wife yet.
True.
So yeah, people are like, "Why did they change? What's so different?" But they went to this other guy who's done so much other good work.
Yeah.
And Tim's done a lot of great stuff around that time too. He did like a War of Ages album, lots of other stuff. But anyway, the last thing I wanted to share was a quote of the concept of the entire album explained by their bassist, David Siddig. He says, "Baptized in Filth represents the mindless indulgence and self-worship in the vile world that we live in. This album is meant to scare the hell out of you."
Oh.
Quote,
Okay.
end quote.
I mean, yeah, totally. And I think we're not even talking about the album's name song that's on here, Baptized in Filth. Spoiler alert. But like that is totally what Baptized in Filth the song is about, right? Indulgence in this evil, vile world.
Yep.
Hypocrites, man. Right?
I guess there's a couple other things to talk about before we
yeah?
really get going.
Okay, let's do it.
So, fun stuff for people that don't know Impending Doom. They are known... Well, I guess I'll rewind a little bit more. I'll add another thing. Deathcore genre is typically not Christian. Death
For sure.
anything is not Christian. So for them to be Christians in this scene, they're kind of seen negatively by Christians because we're judgmental and we go, oh, they're doing death music, that must be satanic. And they're seen negatively in the scene for being Christians and being accused of trying to sell out, make money off the Christian market, stuff like that by being in this scene. So they changed their genre name to be Goreship. Like, not to worship gore, but to be like a gore, a death metal band.
Yeah.
And worship. And so they're like, we're a Christian deathcore band. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my fun facts. Fun stuff.
It is kind of crazy though, you think about it. I mean, there aren't very many, obviously, deathcore bands that are Christian. And these dudes, like, for the most part, we talk about other bands like For Today and, Haste Today and all these other bands, whatever, and they kind of toured in that, metalcore scene, which was full of a lot of Christian bands during that time, right?
Yeah.
But, like, the deathcore scene isn't.
Yeah.
And
or
so you
black
have,
metal.
like, Impending Doom touring with all these other bands that aren't Christian, right? So it's kind of a different little deal. And I think, and I already said this, but I think that is kind of why maybe I wasn't as exposed to them back when I was listening to For Today, August Burns Red, and all that stuff when it was coming out.
They're in a different market.
Yeah, a little bit different market, for sure.
Yeah. So, with all that, I say we jump right in.
So the first song that we are going to talk about from Baptized in Filth is Murderer, which is one of my favorites on this album.
Do you have a favorite?
For sure. I do have a favorite. I do have a favorite.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. I didn't.
Oh.
I don't think I can pick a favorite.
I got a favorite for sure. But I mean, this is up there. This is the song that, like, Murderer, listening to it with my wife, like when he's screaming, and I'm jumping ahead, he screams like, "I'm a murderer." My wife's like, "Wait, what?" I thought, this is deathcore stuff.
Is this Tim Lambesis?
No, I mean, but this song, like, it comes in so hard. It's like it comes in and he just starts screaming, and it's just
Did
like,
you see my hilarious story on Instagram?
yeah,
That like hamster thing going Super Saiyan. That was to this song with that part.
it was.
Yeah, I cracked up so much.
No, this song comes in hard, and I just absolutely love his vocals. It's so well produced, and the thought that I am a murderer, wash me clean. Not a literal murderer, right? But like a murderer. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about.
If we're really going to get into sentences and lyrics.
Yeah. Man, we just started this bad boy. And
so I had to explain that to Jen too. So
Yeah.
I have a shirt that I bought when we saw them with For Today and Sleeping Giant and Texas in July.
Yes.
Am I missing anybody? I think that was it. There might be someone else. 100th, yeah. I bought a shirt at that show, and it says, it's probably one of my favorite shirts. It's still like my Twitch like screenshot picture is me like from 6 years ago in that shirt.
Yeah.
And it used to be on my wall forever, but it said, it's like, I am a murderer in big big red letters that look like slashing.
Yeah.
And then the back just says, wash me clean in white, very bold and clear. So from the back, and I loved wearing it to church, right? I love wearing like band clothes to church. Because it's a great way to meet people. I've met people that they're like, I was wearing like a For Today shirt, and people come up and like, dude, For Today, right? And I'm like, this guy, I'm friends with this guy. Like, I immediately know. And that's how I met Tim, our lead at the time. He was our worship director. I don't remember. I was like listening to a song, or maybe I had a shirt on, but it had something to do with Under Oath, and like he loved Under Oath, and I was like, dude, okay, I like this guy. That's all it takes.
Right, for sure.
Anyway, coming all the way back, I've had to explain to Jen, because she's kind of like, you're gonna wear that at church? I'm like, hey, it's so Christian. He's saying he's a murderer and that his sins Jesus paid for. He died for his sins. I killed Jesus. Wash me clean with your payment, right? And I was like, it's like, and if someone wants to ask me, why are you wearing a satanic shirt at church? I'll
turn
like,
around from the back.
Let me check it, yo. And they're like, did you go to jail? Well, it's just a shirt, guys.
I didn't actually commit murder.
I'm not an actual murderer. Anyway, that was my rabbit trail with your lyrics.
No, and I think it's totally crazy though, because you think about it, it's like, wow, that's a pretty heinous thing to say, that you are a murderer. But like when it comes down to it, it's like, that's what we were. I love when he goes into screaming, I am a murderer, like throughout the song it happens.
The breakdown part? It sounds so clean to me. Like, you can stop and listen and be like, this whole song, I'm only going to listen to the guitar. And you can. And then the next time you re-listen, you can be like, I'm only going to listen to the drums. And there's not a point where you're like, where'd they go? What's going on? And I just think the quality is just up there. Like, amazingly done. But if it's my turn to talk about lyrics... So I love the chorus. It's actually one of the things I could understand the first time I heard this song, and I was like, I think I like them already because I can understand him. Mm-hmm. But he screams it high, and the chorus is, we have to realize a reality beyond our eyes. In an unseen world, the Antichrist is gonna rise. And we'll have to realize a reality beyond our eyes. In an unseen world, the Antichrist will fall. And the whole time he does that, when he's just like super high, and he's like, we have to realize. And it's just like, love it.
And you're right. It's just it's really, really clean. Not clean. It's not clean vocals, right? But it's like that part is really.
It's clear. A clean recording. It's a clean
It's just done so well, and I love how he screams that with the music behind him, and it's awesome. And I think a lot of times, like with deathcore, you don't think it's like super technical. Maybe it's like drums going and guitar going. It's just like super, fast.
Sure. There's no guitar solos and stuff like that.
Yeah, and not necessarily fast, but like it just feels like it's not as technical as like metalcore when you think of like August Burns Red and other bands like that. But I feel like you were saying earlier, like this just feels a lot more clean. And it is, you can tell there's a difference between their older albums and this one. I think Murderer is a great example, and I love that they started off the album with it. It's awesome.
So the next song we're going to talk about is Chaos Reborn. So Chaos Reborn is kind of I think it helps paint the picture of the broken world.
Yeah.
And how it's only going to get worse. Just saying that chaos is being reborn. Like, it's getting worse and worse every time. But there's a part that I listen to, and no matter how many times I hear it, I can't stop thinking about Star Wars.
Wait, what?
Yep.
What part?
So there's a line where he's like, from fear to anger to sorrow, and then he says, turn to this, right?
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of Yoda being like, fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Like, no matter
that
what,
is
I'm like,
what
is
you
that
think of?
I'm like, well, because he's like going through this thing from like fear, anger, sorrow. I mean, yeah, every time. I don't know why.
That's hilarious. I've never thought that, but that's funny. You maybe just are watching too much Star Wars, dude.
It's been a while.
I love this song for a few reasons. Number one, that high guitar that gets going, that part is so sweet. Especially like before that, it's like a breakdown. I think it's maybe the first chorus, if we can call it a chorus, where he says Chaos Reborn, and then it's just like breakdown, and he says Chaos Reborn again, and then follows it by screaming heretic, and then the high guitar
lyrically
starts again.
I'm like, why did he just say heretic?
Why did he say it?
Yeah,
I don't know, man, but all I know is when it's happening, I'm screaming it and just like rocking in my car. It's pretty awesome, dude.
You like to yell heretic.
I mean, that's all I do. I look at people and I call them heretics.
Hypocrite. Sinner. Heretic.
Yeah, just roll down my window, that 5-year-old kid that's on his scooter, and just be like, heretic! Chaos is reborn!
So, I have a few lyrics I want to talk about, and I can't decide which ones I want to talk about first.
Do them all. Oh, first?
So, okay, there's
comes
this one.
First?
I'll do the... okay. So, the first one I want to talk about is the opening lyrics. And it kind of goes... It's kind of where I meant to go before talking about Yoda.
Okay.
But, so... The lyrics are, the whole world is out of control. New religions, new moral behaviors. Sounding familiar. Life is hard, and it's not getting easier. Sound familiar? Now I know the need for a savior. Right? And, I mean, this was written in 2011, 2012-ish.
Yeah.
So it applies even more today, and I think every year it's going to apply even more, but... Anyway, I just really liked that that he threw in, like, they're always like accused of being more anti-devil than they are pro-God, right? Like,
sure,
they're always like oh, sin's bad, devil's bad, world's corrupt, roar, and that's like how people see them. So, I don't know, maybe people just don't hear these parts, but I like that they threw in the whole, now I know the need for a savior, right? Yeah. The second lyric I want to talk about is just one that I really love the way he screams. It's kind of like after a chorus and jumps into a bridge. And he says, as I watch the maggots swarm, feasting on the sheep of this age. And he says, now he says, nothing will stop my rage. And he holds that out. And it's like, I think there's like a reverb effect. Mm-hmm. So it kind of sounds like there's like two of them. And he's like, rage.
Yeah.
And like...
Oh, yeah, I love that part, too.
He's mad, He's mad.
Sitting on the ship of the edge, nothing will stop my rage. I'm so sick of the gambit to dance, slowly fading and breaking it.
Oh man, yeah, this song's awesome. I feel like the ending of it just like goes on forever though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
when he's like, till the end, we will descend.
Yeah, and it just continues and it like fades out, fades out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it does just kind of fade out, doesn't it? There's no real end to the song.
No, it just fades out. There's no end.
Yeah.
And it just continues the lyrics. But it leads into my absolute favorite song, my favorite Impending Doom song, Deceiver. I love this song for a bunch of reasons. But when Chaos Reborn, it just like fades out and gets like super quiet. And then all of a sudden the drums, you know, that drum part at the beginning of Deceiver just start coming in. Oh, it's so good. And you just know that this song is going to freaking be a banger, man. I can't get over just how well this song flows. It's super dynamic. Like, and I feel like a big gripe a lot of people have with deathcore is it's not as dynamic, it's not as technical, but like this song is dynamic. It's done so well in so many places, and it is great. And then Brooks comes in, and it's like a different type of scream than he does a lot of times. But it's pretty
well, it's like on a megaphone kind of thing.
Yeah. It's so not like, as clear. It kind of seems like it's made further away. Yeah.
So my favorite part is like at the end of the song, and that's all I really want to talk about.
There's so many great lyrics and so many awesome parts of this song. I love the chorus that gets repeated. The filth you speak comes straight from hell. Your walls are weak, and I can tell. Man, the way that is screamed, the vocals on that are just
he's
awesome.
Mad. Yeah,
yes, and you can just tell he's just like so into it, and man, it gets you going. And then the second verse happens, but then it leads into like the best part of the song, right? That second chorus leading into like your walls are weak and I can tell. And then
you're listening to it right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're like talking and listening and talking and listening.
I can't get enough of this song. And like, so it gets to that part where it's that high pitch kind of scream. And I always thought the vocals said, when you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Really?
Me too. No, for real, like forever.
I thought
until
that
we did this podcast. Because it makes sense to me, right? When you're gonna die, says it 6 times, and he's like, no one will be there but the snake, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, man. Like, because the guy's alive, right? But but the lyrics all over say, when you're dead and gone.
Yeah.
And really, like, I don't know. I feel like I can understand him pretty well. And so for the internet, or 3 lyric websites that are answered and filled out by other people, say dead and gone, I'm like, really though? I mean, so let me get some background. Tyler and I have been doing this podcast for so long. This is our like 9th episode, 8th technically, because we had a part 1, part 2.
That's right.
We've done so much research, but like a lot of the music we listen to, and a lot of the music that we've talked about, even the people writing the lyrics aren't always the fans, and it might even just be some algorithm that's running that's listening to words, right? And someone's like, I'm supposed to write the lyrics for this or whatever. Unless you have the lyric sheet from the band, I feel like you just can't trust the internet with some of this stuff. I mean, with Deceiver, I feel like I have to believe it because it's like their most popular song.
Yeah.
You know, they got a music video with tons of views, and like it's really popular. So maybe he is saying when you're dead and gone. I think it is.
I mean, when I listen to it now, looking at it, I'm like, oh, when you're dead and gone. And I listen to it, I'm like, okay, I can see how it is that. But for whatever, my mind was just telling me, when you're gonna die, when you're gonna die. And I'm like, that was just ingrained in my brain, I guess. Yeah. So it was weird looking at it and being like, wait, that's not what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, so in my notes, this is like the first point I wanted to talk about, and I was like, wait, this is backwards. I'm doing a Tyler. Like, I want to talk about the ending.
You're pulling a Tyler, talking about the ending of the song first.
Yeah, but the ending of that, when he, after he's like, no one will be there but the snake. Oh. Long pause, snare drum, long pause. And then he's like, the devil. Long pause. Deceiver. Long pause. Unholy one. Like, oh my gosh.
That part is unreal.
Yeah.
Like goosebumps. Like when I first heard this song and that happened, I was like, oh my gosh. You see these right here? Those bad boys are goosebumps. Thanks.
Hold on, put them closer to the camera. Let me see. Oh,
Thanks,
minor freckles. Impending Doom gives me freckles.
I couldn't get enough of this when I first heard it, and I don't think there's a lot of. I mean, I love Impending Doom, but there's not a ton of songs I hear. I'm like, oh, I got to keep listening to that. But Deceiver was like one of those songs, and I'm a song guy. I know Gary's an album guy. We talked about this before, but like I heard Deceiver, and I just kept every time I went to the store, or I went to the post office, or I went to pick my kid up from daycare or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'm turning up Deceiver. I'm going to freaking worship practice for church. Got this just blaring, pulling the church parking lot, getting ready to sing some Chris Tomlin. Yeah. No one will be there but the snake. And people around me like, oh my gosh. This guy? What is he doing?
He's talking about the devil.
I do feel like it's really weird. Because, I mean, obviously a majority of the people that go to church, that in general, just in America, right? They don't listen to this stuff. And I don't know if a majority of them think that Impending Doom or their genre or metalcore or whatever is bad. But there is a good portion of people that do.
Oh, for sure.
Which is super weird to think about when you're talking about the lyrics.
So my favorite thing to do is to troll the people that come to church really early. So I run sound at my church, and we have to play like intro music for when people get there so they can talk and find their seats. And in COVID, it's a lot harder. There's like a fourth as many people kind of stuff. Have to be spaced out, but I still get control of the music. And there was one Sunday that I don't remember what it was, but I think I played a song from this album, and someone down front was like saying that, I don't even know who it was. Maybe I shouldn't even say this in case they're going to listen to this podcast.
Well, if they're not into the music.
But they were saying like, do they think it's funny to play satanic music at church? Like I thought I was like trolling to do that, and I'm like, pushed my glasses up to my head. Actually, no, I just turned it down because I mean it is like disrespectful to people who have an honest fear of this kind of music, and to them it relates to that, and so for us to like shun them and mock them, it's kind of insulting. And the Bible.
I don't think so. I mean, what's disrespectful? Country music. That's disrespectful. They hide themselves and like, they're like, oh yeah, we'll listen to country music and love it because like they said God once, but like every other lyric is like bad, you know what I mean, or whatever. Not bad, but it's just
God bless America.
I just don't get that whole thing. Like,
genre bashing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Impending Doom, guys.
No. We'll bash country. It's fine.
So, have you ever seen the music video for this?
Yes, a while back.
Yeah, I've seen it once, and I was like, I should rewatch it just to see, because I remember the
freaking like creepy devil-looking guy.
Yeah. Right? So Jen will not watch this music video, and I'm like, why? Because of the devil guy? And she's like, well, he's creepy, but there's snakes. And I was like, she's terrified of snakes, and like there's snakes all over this video. Oh. But I never really watched the video all the way through because I was like, yeah, I get it. I love the song, like, But I thought it was interesting after I learned that the dude in the video was like a Catholic priest. and he's like obviously leading people away from God, right? He's, being deceived. He is the deceiver as well.
Yeah.
And the whole music video, he's like, I don't know, melting faces with Satan. Like their faces are stuck together with like glue and stuff. And they're like, oh, get off of me. Satan's like, I'm going to eat you. I don't know. It's weird. But
Gore shit.
I think the whole point of the video is very valid. And even the song, right? I mean, this is about someone who's deceiving people, like in the church. An actual, like, I don't know if they're intentionally or unknowingly or ignorantly, but either way, they're leading people away from God or teaching a false gospel. And I don't know. I feel like I'm really good at being self-righteous. So songs that are like that, it's like, yeah, man, those people that are wrong, But there's a Bible verse. I don't know how I'm tying this in, but Matthew 18:6 is, but whoever causes one of these little ones, Christians, who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea. So he's really expounding on this like suffering, like for being a deceiver. Like it's better for you to just toss yourself in the ocean with a freaking heavy rock tied around your neck, dragging you down. Yeah. And so all this like, dead bodies stacked 10 feet tall, talking about like your sins are piling up. You have a lot of people's lives on your soul that you've led astray, right? You have a lot of debt. Anyway.
And aren't we all, I mean, when it comes down to it, like in some form, maybe not like a pastor or priest that has like an actual flock that they're leading, right? But in some way, like, we all are deceivers at some point, right? Like, in some way,
sure.
Which is pretty scary to think about. But I mean, looking at the music video and this, like, I feel like it's the false people. It's the heretics that came. We're talking about Chaos Reborn, right? The people that are leading, thinking they're leading people to God or trying to say they are, but they're deceiving.
I mean, it could be so many things.
It could, yes.
Maybe the church is providing a good paycheck and they're no longer Christians, so they don't really read the Bible anymore, and they're just preaching messages and pushing something that everyone's like, oh yeah, that's such a good point. Right. Yes. And those people are now being taught about a God who does not match the God of the Bible.
Right.
He's
think of like
in heaven with
his
big white beard and his balding head, floating in the clouds, and it's like that is not the same God.
Right. Yeah, you turn on like TV, evangelical, people.
Your favorite guy,
COVID-19. COVID-19. No, people, man, that are just like using the gospel for profit. PROFIT, profit, like. Those are straight up deceivers, and I feel like that's what Brooks or Impending Doom, I don't know necessarily who wrote the song, right? Like,
Brooks wrote all the lyrics.
That's not true.
It is true. Milkshake bet.
Right. Every lyric was written by him.
Bingo. Yep.
You know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact.
Milkshake bet. Right now, shake it.
All right, we're shaking hands, everybody. Virtual handshake.
Okay.
So if I'm right...
Yeah.
Tyler has to buy me a milkshake.
Yeah.
But he can't have one. And vice versa. But that's not going to happen.
I feel like I'm right. Every single lyric.
So remember my info thing at the beginning?
Vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah. With like the band members and stuff. I totally have a note that I missed that says all lyrics are written by Brook Reeves.
You purposely did that so this would happen right now? How dare
Hooked
you?
Ya. I got you. No.
How dare you?
Don't believe me, though. Look it up on the internet after this podcast. After we record this, you can look it up, and we'll let the whole world know.
I feel like I looked at it, and it didn't say he wrote one of the songs.
So lyrics, not songs.
True. It could be they wrote like the music for it, I guess. Interesting. I'll have to hold you that milkshake bet. I guess we'll see.
I'll remember it next time I'm in Tri-Cities and I'm hankering for a milkshake.
I'll get it for you, I guess. No, this song, We could talk about this song for the entire podcast. I think just how awesome.
I think we
it
should
is.
just listen to it. Like, we should just listen to it some more.
Just right now, just listen to it again and
Yeah,
again.
let's stick another piece in the episode right here. You know, right here.
Boom.
You're the devil's engine funeral. Dead bodies sick and vital. You're the devil's engine funeral. Dead bodies sick and vital. You're the devil's engine funeral.
You did mention it, but I feel like we have to come back to it. How angry the vocals are at the very end. Dead bodies stacked 10 feet. Like, dude, that's pretty brutal. I can't get over it. And part of me is like, you know, the way it's sang or screamed or whatever, and the music, like, it is a pumped up ending to that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like and it's so different than what was just before with the awesome breakdown.
Well, because it's like, it's not really a breakdown, right? It's like the music slows down. There's not a lot there. And he like whispers like, 10 bodies stacked 10 feet tall. And then he just gets louder and louder. And eventually he's like, 10 bodies stacked 10 feet tall. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then he just gets real angry and he just says it over and over. And now the devil's at your funeral.
Oh my gosh.
You know, just.
Yeah.
So Tyler, if we have nothing else to talk about, I figured we can move on to the next song, which is Angry Letters to God. So I'm the one that suggested we talked about this song.
Ooh. Yep.
I mean, I think it's a great song, lyrically. Musically speaking, I think it's very middle of the road for the album.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
do.
Like,
yeah, I do like.
There's not like a point where you're like, oh yeah, that part.
It's not as dynamic as the other songs that we've heard.
Yeah, but I like his intention with this song.
And I think it fits well with like the title of the song, but like the guitar sounds angry. Like right when it comes in, kind of that high pitched like wailing, you know, guitar. I really like that part. It's a change from what we've heard, and the song before this, Absolute Horror, kind of blends really well. I think when I first listened to this album all the way through, I don't even know if I knew it was changing. Like, it sounds like a new song, right? But it almost feels like a bridge of Absolute Horror. At least that's what I thought. And that guitar intro is awesome.
This is why I'm an album guy, dude.
You are. I know, and I have to be that too, because it makes it just so much better when you just feel like the flow of the album. But I really, really like this song for a few reasons. And the first reason is I feel like they're writing about what they've had to deal with being a Christian band in the deathcore scene.
Yeah.
What Christians in general sometimes we have to deal with, like people mocking us for what we believe in, right? When we do things or don't do things, we kind of get this backlash, and people are, in our view, right, they're wrong. They're upset at God when they shouldn't be. But it's kind of an interesting dynamic, I think, that this song brings up.
Yeah, I think the song is just targeted to people who like attack God and try to discredit Christianity. I mean, there's that lyric where he says, but don't you dare spit a verse misused and out of context to try to prove a point. And I was like, oh man, that's what a lot of people do. Like, so many like people will say, oh yeah, I've read your Bible. It's like, my Bible. Like, calm down, man.
Yeah.
The reason I kind of wanted to talk about this song, I was just going through trying to find like some interviews of this album to try to see, I don't know, the general world's view of this album and where it ranked and whatnot. And most metal sites gave them like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. You know, like good effort, too much Jesus kind of talk. But man, do not go read those, because there's comment sections underneath so negative, so mean,
Really?
so bad about them being Christians. And like, anyway, I feel like this song is just straight up targeted at those people.
Go ahead,
Like,
write your angry letters to God.
Like don't be yelling at me. Write your letter to God. Like, that's who you're really mad at.
Yeah, that part, he says something like, where you're going, there is no fame, no glory, bashing everything I believe.
Yeah.
Your time will come, and that's kind of like, it seems harsh, right? But it's also like, that person is attacking every fiber of your being, and I don't think I'm sure there's been people that I don't know about, right? They're like, oh, that Tyler guy, he's a Christian, and truthfully, like, people do that. Like, people ask me, like, this is a good example. My buddy, awesome dude, he's not a Christian or anything, but like, just assumed, he's like, oh yeah, I guess you can't hang out on Sunday because you got church. I'm like, dude, my church is like an hour long, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I'll be home watching the Seahawks by 1, bro. Like, and so there's always these assumptions that people make. Oh, they must spend all their time there. He must be, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. There's no way he would, drink. There's no way that he would, cuss or whatever it is, right? And some of it, like, okay, those judgments are true, but like, I don't think very many people have bashed me to my face for my beliefs, if any, truthfully. What about you?
Well, it's different for you. So I was a Christian in high school.
That's true.
And that's probably where I got most of my flack. Just because in high school, you're a kid. Kids don't have filters. Now it's just the internet, right? You can go to any group on Facebook and all you have to say, any subreddit on Reddit, anywhere on Twitter, and just say, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. You're going to get someone who has something negative to say. As long as it's like, anonymous and public, right? People will say anything they want, not anonymously. But yeah, in high school, I got flack all the time for, I would go to like a church camp or whatever, and then I'd get back, and so I'd have my Bible at lunch and read it while I eat, and get made fun of for that, and only listening to Christian music as a kid, got made fun of for that. Just,
it's interesting
yeah.
though. Like, I mean, I teach high school, so I see this unfolding in front of me sometimes, but like with high school, it's not like real life, because if somebody was like bashing you in real life, you're like, okay, I will never see you again. But high school, like, you come back to the same class with the same kids every day. You have to see them. Like, you could try to ignore them in the halls or whatever, but like, you're forced to be with those kids for 4 years. Where in the real world, you just be like, yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is true. Like, me not being a Christian in high school, I didn't experience that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure they get a lot of flack for just touring with a lot of the bands they toured with,
Yeah.
Going up on stage and singing the stuff he sings. So
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's just crazy, because like, all these different bands like do it in different ways. Like, I don't remember when we saw him, and he was with a bunch of Christian bands that time. But when we saw Impending Doom, I don't remember Brooks or anyone like, doing a Jesus speech to like everyone. We'd always like think like, dude, did they do a Jesus talk? Right? I remember when I saw.
They like said for 2 seconds, we do this for Jesus, and then they
which
played.
Means it means really nothing
totally.
anymore. But like, it was a big deal. But like, I remember when I saw Under Oath, for Separation, maybe that album. But anyways, I saw them, and Spencer like did a Jesus like talk, like, whatever works for you, it's blah 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 blah, but Jesus saved me from addiction, all that stuff. And I was like, dang, they did a Jesus talk, that's so amazing. But then you look like Under Oath now, or other bands that did that because it was popular then, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, did that even mean anything? Why were we so caught up in did they do their Jesus talk? Bands do it differently. I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at.
It's a whole weird thing. I mean, I don't know. I think now, so like, I saw Wolves at the Gate recently.
Yeah.
Recently. Almost a year ago.
Not within a year.
It was probably my last live show, actually. They came to Spokane with Disciple. And they had a really awesome like sermon thing in the middle of their set, and I was like, this is really cool. And I think we like it because it's something we agree with.
Right.
And when we hear them like reaffirming stuff that we believe, and we're like, yeah, I like these guys even more. They're saying stuff I like. Where if you have another one that says, here's an out of context example, F Trump on tour.
Right.
Well, now half the audience that doesn't want to F Trump, you know, they're like, man, why is he being such a douche, right? Anyway, it's less of a way of alienating, but you kind of have the same audience. Sorry, you kind of have the same viewpoint. If you're not a Christian, right? If you went to that Under Oath show and you're like, I don't care about your God, right? And they go up there and they say that stuff, you're not going to be like, yeah, Under Oath just said that about Jesus. Yeah. You know, they don't. If anything, they're going to be like, ugh, they actually did that. You know?
Yeah.
But
from our like small-minded early 20s brains, we were like, they're Christians, they have to do it, and if they don't,
they check the box, you guys. They're definitely Christian.
Yeah. Are they even Christian if they don't? You know, and that was like, it's so weird because like Impending Doom is one of the most Christian like bands lyrically, I think. Like if you read their lyrics, almost every song I can think of is somehow about God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't do anything at the show.
And they didn't do anything at the show, and I don't know if they do. But, like, that's the thing. Like, and obviously we've matured. But is it better to check the box and say, I talked about Jesus? Or is it better to build relationships with people that are lost, right? And show them Jesus through your life and through the way that you are. Like, that's the part that I think I've matured in, obviously, from being like that young Christian's like, oh, they better say it, and if they don't say it, maybe they're not even Christian, you know?
Yeah, and that's such a bad train of thought.
Terrible.
I don't know how that started or where it came from. You know, youth group mentality.
Yeah,
but like, man, these guys go on shows for months at a time, every night. You want them to say the same thing over and over with no emotion or thought or feel like. That's just draining to me. And I mean, like if you're called to be an evangelist and like reach out, you know, cool. But man, just talk to them after the show, or like, you know, get to know them in real life. And that's so hard too, right? You're the front man of a band, and everyone's looking at you like, this is the lead singer of this Christian deathcore band.
Yeah.
And you just know there's all these expectations of you, and to do that every night, you know, it's just, I can't even imagine.
Right,
like
and I'm sure there's shows, like, people might be like, oh, he talked about it this time or did this time or whatever. He probably did. Like, we're not saying he never has. But, like, he didn't when we saw him. And we saw him with For Today. And For Today, everything in between a For Today song is a sermon. You know what I mean? Like,
even Sleeping Giant had a couple moments.
Oh, yeah, dude. For sure. And I can't wait till we do our Sleeping Giant episode. But, like, that's not who Impending Doom is. I've watched a few videos that Brooks has put together, and it's like, I think he really, for him, like, he is speaking to these people that are lost in a scene that is super lost, right, in a lot of ways, through building relationships. And I think that is huge. That's a big impact, more so than just getting up on stage and saying, yeah, we believe in Jesus. I mean, because if you know their lyrics, obviously they do.
Yep, for sure. So to kind of back you up on their lyrics are very Christian. I pulled some of the lyrics that I didn't talk about, and so maybe I'll just bring those ones up. So I think at the beginning, there's a lyric that's like, my enemies will not take away another day from me. I will rise above all the mocking and ridicule. The one you reject is the God that saves us all. Like, awesome. And there's another line that I said the last half of. He said, we can stack my sins a mile high if you want, and we can talk about all I've done wrong if you want. And that's when he said, but don't you dare spit a verse misused and out of context to try to prove a point. Yeah. You know?
That's good.
So the real controversy, at the ending of the song,
this is a controversy.
Tyler and I talked about this because we were like, what? There's a part where he's like quieter, and the lyrics say, he says, pick it up, right? He's like, pick it up, you know, like, everyone's time has got to come. Pick it up, pick it up. And I'm like, what? It's not pick it up. I thought it was live it up. And Tyler's like, dude, Gary, I thought he was saying live it up. And I'm like, again, me too. What is up with these lyrics that are like how does that even make sense? He's telling the guy to, like, live it up. Enjoy your moment of, like, shaming me to try to, like, put me down for my faith, right? Live it up, man. Live it up, right? Pick it up? What? Is he trying to tell the music, like, pick it up, pick it up?
Let's go, baby. Pick it up.
Pick it up, pick it up. Let's go, pick it up. Weird, man.
It has to say live it up. I mean, I've thought it was live it up this whole time.
Dude, we should just message him and be like, yo, what are you saying here?
You know what? There might even be, and this would be, like, we're going to get roasted for it. There's probably lyric videos out there. You know how bands release that?
I've looked. I didn't just look at a few. I've looked at a lot, and they all say pick it up.
Pick it, maybe?
For this song, like, on YouTube, there's, like, 3. And it's a copy-paste of, like, these sites. Yeah.
Pick it up, pick it up. No way.
No way.
Maybe it does, and we're just, like, projecting what we think it should say. Just like the deceiver part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that part
or maybe that's what he was supposed to say, and then they had the, like, book thing with the lyrics printed out and sent off, and he's like, let's change it. I don't like it. We're going to change it to live it up now. It's live it up. And so the lyrics, I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
This part, even if it says pick it up, which I think it says live it up, this part is awesome. This part is the best part of the song when it gets to that breakdown and it goes hard.
Please forgive us, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's time has got to come. Yeah. I really like the guitar work on this song. Like, it's very, like, it's just a little different, a little higher pitched, a little creepy, a little eerie.
Yes, for sure.
Doomy.
Impending Doomy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than the next song we're going to talk about. That's for sure. The next song that we are going to discuss on Baptized in Filth is My Light Unseen.
I love this song. I know you brought it up, but this might be...
Stop it.
My favorite.
What?
Not on that album. Chill. You calm down.
Gosh,
my favorite song featuring Ryan Clark.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say it's your favorite Impending Doom song.
No.
I you gotta be honestly kidding me.
We're this far into the podcast. I think I'll say Murderer is my favorite.
Spotify agrees with you. So this song, My Light Unseen, Ryan Clark, straight up, like, Ryan Clark. Yay! We love Ryan Clark. Demon Hunter's awesome. But I will say this. I remember listening to this.
Get your butts out of here.
I remember this for the first time, listening to it. I had a double take. I think I was on a walk, or maybe at the gym or something, and this came on, and I was
Someone changed my song.
Did somebody change it from Impending Doom to Demon Hunter? Because this is a Demon Hunter ballad. You know, obviously is a little bit different with the music, but I mean, it's a Demon Hunter ballad. Is it a good song? Yes. Do I love it? Meh.
Why are you asking questions and answering them yourself? What are you trying to get at? What are you saying? You don't like it?
I know your answer to this. You love it. You love it.
I do. I for sure love this song. For sure. It doesn't even need to be an Impending Doom song. You put this on a Demon Hunter album. You put it on anything. Like, the music is my jam. The lyrics are great. Ryan Clark's voice range is what I like. Mm-hmm. You know, the high screams in the background all the time, the angry screams how it ends. Like, this is like, if you want to engineer an entire album for me, it's 10 of these songs.
Oh gosh. I might have lied on previous episodes, maybe our Christmas episode, I don't know. Maybe it was you and Isaac and you're like, oh gosh, Demon Hunter ballads are just my thing. And I'm like, yeah, they're so cool. Demon Hunter ballads are so awesome. They're not.
Sometimes it's hard being your friend, you know?
They're not that cool. Okay, I get why people like them, right? I understand it.
You do?
I just can't
I don't think you do.
get there. Like, I can't get there. I'm like, if I wanted to listen to something other than heavy music, I would pick a different artist. Like, I get that people like that stuff, but when Ryan Clark, for example, on My Light Unseen, towards the end, he starts like getting his snarl, and you're like, okay, this could be a heavy song. We might finish heavy, and it gets going, and he gets up there, and then no, I just can't do it, dude. What do you love about Demon Hunter ballads?
So to be fair, I don't love all of them. Okay, I love most of them.
I don't know. No way, dude.
I think it's so again, I'm not a single song guy. Right? So I listen to the entire album, and it gets to a point where there's now a break in the typical Demon Hunter music. And the ballads are just like what like stick out, and it's like, and I think the main thing is Ryan Clark's voice. Right? Yeah. Like there's just some people that when you hear that, a certain pitch, a certain range of voice, that you just like love that voice. Adele is another one that like people are like, man, her voice, like when she hits certain notes, her pitches, I don't know, it like resonates with certain people. And I think the people that don't get Demon Hunter or the ballads either, whatever, it's just, they're like, I don't get it. It's just his voice, right? And other people are like, man, he hits that low or that mid tone that's like, I don't know, it makes me want to sing too, right?
Well, I do love Adele. I will say that. But it's not bad. They're not bad. Like the ballads are not bad. I would never say Demon Hunter ballads are lame. Okay, maybe they're lame, but they're not like bad.
Are you are you backpedaling?
Don't backpedal. I am. I don't know. I just
stick to your guts, man.
I get it. And you know what? You just said that like the ballads are like a break in the music in Demon Hunter albums. That's what this is. It feels like it.
Okay.
In my
big
opinion.
rabbit trail coming back.
Dude,
do you know why it says instrumental on the end?
I would assume. Like I think For Today, they have instrumentals in their older albums and stuff. I feel like it's a break, but it's also like an emotional like music part. I don't know. Is that what we're getting at here?
Yeah. So I read an interview. Remember when I was digging up some interviews and found some negative comments?
Yeah.
There's one where they interview the lead guitarist, Corey. I'll just say Corey. And he said that they wrote an instrumental like that with no words. They liked it like that, and they were going to put it in. But they sent it to Ryan Clark because he does great work. And like, let's see what he comes up with, and if we love it, we'll put it in. And they loved it, and they put it in, and they put the name on it, My Light Unseen. But originally it was an instrumental. But man, so that song, My Light Unseen, got like double whammied. Tons of hate on metal sites, right? But tons of like positive on other sites. Like, man, that song My Light Unseen is so good. And it's like, you guys, it doesn't even have Brooks in it. Like, it's not Impending Doom.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a great song. I'm not saying it's like the best Impending Doom song because I don't really consider it to be an Impending Doom.
It's the K-Love version of Impending Doom, which is fine.
I'm offended. I'm going to go get my keys and I'll meet you in your driveway. Let's go fight.
We're going to go to Rochambeau. Let's do it. No, I get it. And I like the lyrics. I love the lyrics, truthfully. Like reading the song and listening to the song. Okay, not listening, but reading the song.
You
lyrics
don't like
are awesome.
Listening to it? You just like reading it?
The lyrics are
I don't
awesome.
like to listen to this song, but reading it, it's great. So let's get into the song.
Yes.
Right? We've just kind of talked around it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an instrumental. It's on the lighter side. What I love is the verses before he gets into the My Light Unseen, choruses.
I suffer through this path. I waited for the hope within this blind. My heart's a dead machine. Every sin will stain my soul. Thank God to wash me clean.
Yeah, really awesome. So maybe I'll pause real quick. I might have not listened. Did Ryan Clark write these lyrics, or did Impending Doom write these lyrics?
Ryan Clark wrote all the lyrics and the words.
Okay, all right.
The second verse that I really like, well, the second verse is, I search within my ways, I center on the dark within my veins, but you never let me go. I know hell is in this place, so I beg for you to show.
And those are, if I'm right, those are 2 capital Y for use,
they are.
right?
Yep.
That's the capital
He's talking
Y.
to God. Yep.
Yeah.
And the third verse,
That's the part where you feel like it could get heavy after this. Like Ryan Clark starting to get heavy vocals, and you're like, oh my gosh, this could end. Those drums could come in, and all of a sudden it's going to be like this awesome outro. But it doesn't.
I like that it doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
I like that it was like a build up like that, and the range of the song didn't change crazy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't like Fit for a King Death Grip where it just like whiplashes you and you're like, oh my gosh.
That's an awesome song though.
I agree. I'm just saying the way this is written, it doesn't fit to do that.
No, I really like the lyric, especially that last part. Tear this crown off my head, my repentance on this day. It is good. I mean, the chorus is awesome.
You're like,
I don't know.
It's good, but dude,
I feel like I'm gonna get so much hate for this.
Dude, you're the one that said you wanted to talk about this song.
I know.
I didn't even get to say I want to talk about My Light Unseen. You're like,
you were going to though.
I sure was. You bet.
The lyrics for the chorus are really awesome though. My Light Unseen, please help, somebody help. Like, this is to God, right? Like, and I really like that. And truthfully, I didn't know even right now, like until you told me that Ryan Clark wrote these lyrics, which is cool. I wonder how it happened. Like, were they like, this is how we felt when we wrote the song? Or did he just like write the lyrics based on how he felt?
I could find the interview for you. It seemed very short. It was very like, we liked the work he's done. We sent him our instrumental, and this is what he sent back. That's like all the details I could find.
Dude, we should create a song. Just music and send it to Ryan Clark. Hey, I heard what you did for Impending Doom. Could you help All Consuming Podcast out, please?
Yeah, but this was like in 2012.
True. You know, and as much as I'm dissing the song and hating on it, like, it's really refreshing to have this and know that, like, you read these lyrics. These aren't scream lyrics. This is sung lyrics, you know. And not saying like things can be they're hiding it by screaming. That's their genre, right? But these are in your face. This is what we believe. This is who we are. We need God to help us and save us. And so I think that's pretty darn cool.
So let's transition to our last song we're going to talk about, and the last song of the album.
Yes. Okay, so first off, I'm stealing your thunder right here, but the first thing about this song, Death, Ascension, Resurrection, that guitar that starts out underneath the ocean, basically.
The underwater sound.
The underwater, it's like from a distance, right? And it just it just comes into it. But then Brook's jumping in and like screaming with the guitar behind it. Mm-hmm. Like, that part is amazing. What does he say right there? Who do you think I am?
Who do you say I am?
Who do you say I am? I am the Alpha, the Omega. Man, I love that part. And it's just like, has that kind of impending doom, eerie like guitar behind it.
I like the rest of that lyric too. You know, if you understood, you'd know that the heart is a treasure from heaven.
Oh yeah.
Death, Ascension, Resurrection, which he doesn't say again until like the end. Like, he starts the song with that. you know?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, he says that in that first intro, which is death, ascension, resurrection. And you're like, oh, that must be why the song is titled that. And then you get to the end, you're like, oh my gosh, he said it 100 times.
So I'm going to ask the question.
Okay, I'm ready.
What does he mean? Death, ascension, resurrection. I've rattled my brain. I have my theories.
I mean,
Some people are like, is it like a
think-
nailed dead risen?
Yeah, I think it's nailed dead risen. Like, it's talking about Christ.
But it's in the wrong order.
no.
Right? Death, resurrection, and then ascension. Dun dun dun. Right? So what? He died. His spirit went to heaven and talked to God and came back down, and then
I mean,
he
some
resurrected.
people think
and then,
that.
Well, some people say he went down into hell and stole the keys from Satan.
I don't think he went to hell. See, there we go. Let's talk some theology. I don't think Jesus could go to hell.
Let's not talk theology.
Let's not do it.
So I have some thoughts.
Okay, dial it up, bro.
Perhaps he means death to himself, kind of thing. You know, old self became a Christian. That's the resurrection, when what he really means is, you know, regeneration and
Yeah.
then ascension. But it's still the wrong order. But yeah, I don't know.
I think he's talking. I think he's talking about Jesus.
You think it's Jesus?
I think so, and just the way it starts off too. Who do you say I am? The beginning, the end. Like, feel
Yeah,
like
but
it's
the
in
end of that verse,
perspective.
he's like, he said, what's he saying? And I'm like, I don't see Jesus saying that. Now look what I've become, proclaiming his name, capital H, and looking down the barrel of a gun. I'm in this for life. That to
that
me
sounds
is
like
like
it
a
would be a
Columbine
person.
shooting thing, also
Yeah.
referenced around that time a lot, you know? The whole,
Okay.
Jesus isn't going to say that.
Yeah. It's a good question. I mean, I really do feel like it.
I
When I
think-
think about it,
I think it's just like convenience in the lyrics.
for sure.
For
I mean, that's
rhyming
definitely
and
part of it.
singing, you know, like, yeah. What were you thinking?
No, I feel like it's the way it's written, and it could be obviously like about us too, but I think it's the power in Jesus's death and resurrection, and the ascension is that perfect third word that fits this, you know.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Ascension. Maybe he means like our body, our spirits being like ascended. I don't know this guy's theology, right? I don't know what his intention is. I don't know how knowledgeable Brooks is on all this stuff, but I remember when I was in that turntable group,
Yeah.
these topics came up all the time when this song came up, and it's like, I don't know. And I think most people just agreed that it was for the sake of rhyming.
Right, and I think there's a lot to it, obviously, but like in general, like when you think about like death, ascension, resurrection, like the power of Christ and the resurrection and all of that, like, I mean, this is a great capper to the end of this album, I think. But musically, I love the guitars in this song. The guitars are flippin' awesome, and the ending, I don't want to jump there yet, but the ending
Okay,
is
let's not do that.
all
So I have another
world
thought.
amazing. Yeah.
I just thought of another thing.
Yeah.
It could be talking about our death. We ascend, whatever, and then in the final days, the resurrection.
Yeah, I thought you were already mentioning that.
Did I not? No,
No?
Oh, I did mention that.
You said it, but
Man.
it could be our theology. Like, depends what people think. Like, so we die, we ascend to heaven, our spirits, and then the final day comes and our bodies are resurrected.
Yeah.
New Jerusalem. Like,
Dude, I don't know. I'm just circling this. It's driving me nuts for like 8 years, and there are no answers to this, and it's just. But no, I mean, a great song, fun all the way through, and I think where you were going, but I think we can agree our favorite part is like the last half of the album, or the last half of the song.
it's amazing. It's unreal. It's especially like I love obviously the breakdown, the where it just says it, unlimited amount of times, death, ascension, resurrection, starts off kind of quiet. But then it goes back into that chorus where right at the end of the song, it's like filthy, face melting, breakdown, and you're in the pit, helicopter arms just spinning. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do when I hear the ending of this song, man. It is awesome. It makes me want to move.
Dude, it's great mosh pit song. So that outro lyric that you were saying, it's like the chorus, but it's not a chorus. It's something totally different, right? He says, "Are we trapped in division and unbelief?" He's mentioned that a lot.
A lot, yeah.
And he says, "Forever separated by our hatred. Follow him to the kingdom of heaven where pain and suffering cease to exist."
Yeah.
Is that the chorus all the time? Or is that just the outro?
No, that's not. No, the first two parts. Yeah, the first two lines of that he says throughout. That's just the chorus. Then he adds those last two lines for this last outro.
Yeah, and man, right after he says cease to exist, those drums, those guitars, just
it's amazing.
Chunky, chuggy for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and let's just like pause on that for a second. That lyric, like, and I think you said this earlier, Impending Doom is always, like in the Christian world, people are always like, oh yeah, they just focus so much on like the devil's bad and we're gonna fight the devil. But like, follow him to the kingdom of heaven where pain and suffering cease to exist. Like, that's amazing.
That is the conclusion to this album that was meant to scare the hell out of you.
Yeah.
I think that this is a great ending to the album.
Yeah.
That they put it here. And then it's kind of a good sandwich, with like, I am a murderer, wash me clean, and then the final, follow him to the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
But I this album is what really brought me to loving Impending Doom. I mean, I've heard their stuff before, and it's usually like a this song, that song kind of thing. I would probably listen to the album once kind of thing. But after getting into this one, and then like their next two that came out, like I just listened to those a ton.
Yes.
And it's been a great album for me.
This album woke me up to Impending Doom. I slept on them, and I wish I wouldn't have. And I think now, like, looking back, I'm glad I heard this album because they are a constant placeholder in all my playlists. I mean, if you want to listen to something that's super heavy, it's Impending Doom, right? Like, looking at all the other stuff we listen to, this is that notch above. This is that super heavy stuff, and it's amazing.
Thank you for listening.